And we're live. Hi, Nick. Thank you for joining in. Hi, everyone who's coming in
Thanks for
and
having
joining
me.
this live. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And it's a great discussion because we are live on LinkedIn and we're going to talk about LinkedIn. And Nick has a huge audience on LinkedIn and he's been talking about LinkedIn as a channel to build it out, what to do, what not to do, the do's and don'ts. And we talk about creator ecosystems and influencers a lot when we talk about B2C. So if it's fashion, if it's lifestyle, there's certain categories. When you think of the category, you think creators, you think influencers. But somehow when we talk about B2B, it suddenly becomes more about emails. I mean, like that's the thought. I mean, you think B2B, you think email campaigns, you think lifestyle, you think creators, you think Instagram, you think interesting videos. But that doesn't happen with B2B SaaS, B2B tech. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today because Nick is an expert on that. So I see a lot of people pouring in already. So I'll start with a quick introduction. So Nick Bennett is one of the leading voices in creator-led B2B growth. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. With 14 plus years of experience in marketing, he's helped 35 plus brands rethink how they build pipelines through creators and communities. He's also the author of B2B Influencer Marketing, a go-to guide for building trust, revenue, through people, through community. And that's what we're going to talk about because a lot of B2B marketing boils down to Nick, revenue, pipeline, MQLs, SQLs. It's the same kind of KPIs. So we're going to talk about all of that. But first of all, Nick, why creator marketing? Why this? I mean, just walk us through your journey. How has it been so far?
Yeah, I mean, so, first off, so I started posting on LinkedIn back in 2020. It seems like it seems like a long time ago. And I remember it was February of 2020. And I was working for a company at the time. The company's name was Clary. They're in the forecasting space. And so I was in Laguna Beach, California at our revenue kickoff. And I had a boss at the time, Kyle Coleman. Some of you might know Kyle. He's now at ClickUp. He was at Copy.ai. Fantastic human, very, very smart person. And he put out a competition to his direct team and he said, hey, you should start posting on LinkedIn, because he was already posting on LinkedIn. And this was like back when the OGs were posting on LinkedIn, where like it was before like AI really became a thing, and people were posting because they enjoyed it. It was such a small group of people posting. And it was kind of like, you I don't want to say grew up with these people, but like you got to know people really, really well back in 2020. And it was right before COVID hit. I
Yes.
remember I was flying back from Laguna Beach, and I remember flying on the plane and like seeing all this stuff. And I was just like, well, I guess I have a pandemic hobby now. And so I took it serious and I started talking about field marketing at the time because that
Hmm.
was what I did. And I said, let me talk about what field marketing is, the misconceptions, how it actually impacts a revenue organization, all of those things. And I did it partly because I'm a very competitive person. And when my boss says, hey, listen, we're going to spiff you on posting about LinkedIn if you can stick with it for a certain amount of time, I'm absolutely all in. And I just love the competitive aspect of it as well. So that was 2020. It's now 2026. And I haven't slowed down. We're going to be getting into 2027 soon, which is crazy to think that once 2027 comes around, I'll have been posting on LinkedIn for 7 years,
Yes.
which is wild to even think about. But it has opened so many doors for me. I can't say enough about it. I know it's become harder over the years, but without LinkedIn, like my professional career, my personal aspects, the friendships that I've made, like it would never have happened. So big thank you to LinkedIn. Hopefully they continue to evolve the platform and make it for the better. I guess we'll see, but there's definitely upside if you play the game well.
Wow, that's interesting. There's this whole debate about LinkedIn becoming Instagram or YouTube these days because of video happening. And there's a lot of creators who are saying, oh, it used to be text only. But at the same time, uh, users, they are consuming content across platforms. They feel that, okay, reading text is just too much work. So, what are your thoughts around the kind of content that works on LinkedIn? Because B2B essentially has been a very text heavy content industry when we talk about marketing in general. Big long blogs, white papers, gated content for that matter, and newsletters, and so on and so forth. But now we're moving towards this piece wherein this short form content is there. So, what are your thoughts on this? What kind of content works for B2B? Predominantly LinkedIn. Are there any other platforms also that you should consider?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, so it's interesting. We were talking right before we went live about like the video tab. So obviously LinkedIn is trying to push video. I am one that should do more video. I have this nice little camera setup and everything, and I do no video, which is crazy to even say. But video, yeah, again, if you can do the video game, no, I remember when I started posting on LinkedIn, Chris Walker, who, for those that don't remember who Chris Walker is, he was at Refine Labs. He's gone off, done amazing things, but demand gen, like when people thought of demand gen, they thought of him. And him and I, we would hang out, we would get together, we filmed podcasts in person. But the one thing that he told me early on was everyone can plagiarize your content from a written perspective on these social platforms, LinkedIn
Yes.
specifically. And I'm sure you see it all the time. People just basically stealing other people's stuff and putting it off on their own. And the one thing he
Yes.
said was, video is the one thing that can't be plagiarized. And I was just like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And like, that's why like YouTube and like Instagram and like all of, TikTok, all these other things, like they make a lot of sense. And, I go into waves where I create TikTok content, I create Instagram content. I had a YouTube channel that had about 50,000 subscribers, and I just kind of stopped it all. I don't know if it's part laziness. I don't know if it's part just not wanting to do with it. But I do have to say, like, diversify, because someone asked me this the other day. What if LinkedIn disappeared tomorrow? I would obviously be in trouble because I've put a lot of my eggs into the LinkedIn basket. And if it apparently went away, all of those relationships, it's a rented platform. You don't own the audience on any of these social media platforms. The goal is really to get it to an email list.
Hmm.
And so the one thing I would say is diversify the platforms that you're on. No, now that doesn't mean jump in and like do them all at the exact same time. LinkedIn was the first one for me, and now I'm actually going really heavy on X. I've noticed X for B2B has done incredibly well over the last month and a half or so. And I'm basically cross-posting everything on X onto Threads as well. And I hate Threads. I think it's a terrible platform, but I barely check it. I put all the content on there and I check from time to time, and I have all these notifications, and I probably should pay attention a little bit more to that. But LinkedIn and X are my two platforms. Maybe in 2027, I'll get into more video. I tell myself that every year. Never works out.
That can be the New Year resolution for you, Nick. I believe do
Exactly.
more videos. I need to do 3 videos every week or whatever, and then
Yep.
you post a video on how you manage to do that resolution in 2027. Let's do that.
Exactly.
Interesting. And I'm glad you said X, because I had a call with someone like who found me on X, and I'm not present on that platform. I just get my team to kind of cross post everything that I do on LinkedIn. And I
Yep.
said, I'm just shocked that you found me on X, because I'm not even I don't open that platform. I just have given access to my team to just cross post content there. So
Yep.
it's interesting that you say that. But let's go back to like a question that I had, a question a lot of people had put together, that when we talk about LinkedIn, we say a lot of outbound. And you shared a post in which you talked about that 90% of your business comes from LinkedIn with zero outbound. And how does that happen? Because there are so many tools out there, third party platforms, which kind of make it very easy to send out LinkedIn connection requests. There's a lot happening. I mean, they've turned this into a whole email marketing, email sending out emails at scale kind of a solution, which is not how it works. But that has also lost that DMs have lost that authenticity, and sometimes you lose out on DMs as well. And what are your thoughts on this? How do you really build a business, or like do demand gen or lead gen, whatever you want to call it today,
Yeah.
from LinkedIn? How do you really do that?
Yeah. Well, so first off, I want to say like there was no plan for me. Like honestly, I just liked posting content, but like I just got laid off. So that was the only reason I went into like my own business. Like I had no intention of ever doing this, which is weird because people always were like, why don't you go off and do your own thing? Like you have enough, expertise, you have the relationships, like what's wrong with you? And I was like, I just felt like it was more secure working for companies. And then we hit the terrible economy in the US that we're in for these last couple of years. And as you can see, everyone is replaceable. So it doesn't matter who you are. And so when I got laid off back in 2023, I was at that time, I was in-house for about 12 years running field marketing, events, ABM. And I had a lot of opinions about event strategy. And at some point, someone in the company, no one wanted to hear me basically say the same thing. So I put them on LinkedIn, and like that was the whole origin story. And so I didn't just stop like job changes. So like I started TAC with my previous co-founder, Mark, left TAC. I built my fractional practice. Like all these jobs changed, but the posting didn't. And I think the hard part is how slow it feels while it's working. So like, again, going back to 2020, year one, there was nothing. Year two, like a few people at events say, I know you from LinkedIn. Year three, someone DMs me out of nowhere and they've never liked a post, never commented. They've just been reading it for months. And now they had an event strategy problem that matched what I've been writing about. And they came in trusting me already, which is the whole thing. So that was the moment, like not because it was like one client or one person, but the people that you talk to, like they've been silently following your content for all of these years. And then all of a sudden it shows up where, they've already decided they trust you because you're putting your information out there. You're putting your thoughts out there. And I always tell this to people that are trying to get jobs too. Like I never used a resume for the last 8 years or so when I was working for companies. Basically, I was like, hey, listen, my content and how I think and how I approach problems is on LinkedIn. Go to LinkedIn. You can read all of that. And most of the jobs that I got were people that already followed me on LinkedIn anyways. Now, I think the whole thing, as we kind of are in 2026 now, like 90% of my business comes from LinkedIn. And I'm not, I mean, you read my content, like I don't actively try to say like, hey, I'm looking for like new clients or anything like that.
Not at all.
I literally just break down different problems that I'm seeing, that people are seeing, that I think I could solve. And I try not to gatekeep anything. And then I just get random DMs from people that are like, hey, listen, I have this problem, like been following you for years. Would love to see if we could hop on a call and like find a way to work together. And now I'm noticing on X, it's actually the same thing. So I've only been active on X about a month, maybe a month and a half. And I've already closed one deal from it, a retainer deal. And then I have a second one where I sent out the SOW yesterday. And again, these people don't even follow me on LinkedIn. They were just following me on X, and they were like, love your content so much, which is actually different content that I'm posting on LinkedIn as well. And so we hopped on a call and realized there's something we could do together.
Wow, that's interesting. And how do you think about this different? Like if there's two platforms, how do you really work on it? And there are a couple of questions which is coming from the audience. For a startup founder, what is the framework a startup founder can follow essentially for content on LinkedIn or on X?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is, so for X, for me, I try to come at it from a different angle. So I do 3 posts per day, Monday to Friday. And the first thing in the morning, every single day, I do like a long form one. I pay for the premium X. I don't even know how much it is, but whatever. It's something where like I put like, think of it as like a LinkedIn post. Like I put that in one tweet. And those typically get the most saves, the most kind of replies, that most engagement. And then 2 other posts during the day are usually like shorter, kind of like stuff that I'm seeing, or like, hey, here's like something funny that I saw, or things like that. And I've noticed that seems to be like the sweet spot. Now, if I was a founder, and I actually wrote a LinkedIn, go check my LinkedIn post out today for those that are listening, because I wrote about this exact thing today. But if you're a founder, like where you should invest first is start with content and start with the founder. So like every time, like it's free, it compounds, and you can't buy the other two without it. So a creator has nothing to point at. A community has nobody to gather around. And so when I posted, I actually, the LinkedIn post from today, I posted on X maybe a couple weeks ago. And so it got 76,000 views and about 2,400 bookmarks. So clearly a lot of founders are stuck on this question.
Yes.
And so the short version is a story extraction session where you pull 15 to 20 stories the founder already tells on sales calls. 3 posts a
Hmm.
week on a simple rotation, and then a 15-minute daily engagement habit. And then you tag every inbound lead in your CRM where you can prove that it came from within those 90 days. Then you look at 2 other signals for creators and community. First, does your buyer already talk to each other? If a Slack group or a subreddit exists, go be part of it before you build your own. If it doesn't exist, that might be your biggest opening, especially like Reddit. Like people are in B2B are very underutilizing Reddit. Like I've built
Yes.
Reddit programs for companies, and like it's it's very underutilized, I should say, by a lot of people. There's some companies that are starting to figure out, but if you're listening, please go explore Reddit. Second thing is there a creator that your buyers already trust? If 3 or 4 people own the conversation in your category, partner with them. If nobody owns it, you have a shot at becoming that voice yourself. The signal to skip within that whole thing, if you're a founder, is don't build a community because a competitor did. I see this all the time. Build it
Yes.
when customers are already asking to talk to each other and you're the one in the way. That's when you start to actually build the community around it, with content being kind of the key.
Interesting. I mean, what you said about Reddit is also a very fair point because if I talk about AI search optimization, because that's a space in which I'm building, Reddit has a major influence and it has recently done deals with Google, with ChatGPT, OpenAI, wherein it is actually saying, oh, we are authenticating the content, and they're more brutal in like putting posts down now if you're kind of seen marketing. So it has to be more organic, more legit there. So here's a question that do you think that so I think you talked about people reading the content but not engaging with it. So there's a question on, do you think we've trained ourselves to mistake visible engagement for actual influence? Also, at what point does passive engagement becomes a community? So essentially like
It's a good question. 100%. Yes, we have trained ourselves. And I'm going to tell you why we've trained ourselves. The tools are the one that did it to us. So every dashboard shows likes, comments, impressions, because those are easy to count. Nobody built a dashboard for read 40 posts silently and then reached out with budget. So we optimized for what we could see. The buyer that changed my business never liked a post. If I'd been chasing engagement, I would have thought I was failing right up there until the day that they DM'd me. Now, it's true. It's
yes.
usually those lurkers that are always in the background. Now, influence is what happens when you're not in the room. It's someone saying your name on a sales call that you'll never hear. It's a VP that's forwarding your post to the team. Now, the beautiful thing with LinkedIn now, in the only 2 metrics that I personally care about is saves to a post and sends. I don't look at impressions. I don't look at engagement. I don't look at any of that. But it goes back to, is someone sending my content to someone else? It is my content being bookmarked and saved. Now, the fix is to change what you report on. So again, go back, track saves over like, track profile views and DMs, track how did you hear about us in the exact words the buyer used, which means that on your demo form, if you have one, make sure it's not just a drop down, because let's be honest, most people are lazy and they're going to click that first thing. You have to be able
Yes.
to say like, all right, it's an open text box. I saw you on LinkedIn, then I went to go listen to your podcast. Now I ended up on this webinar. There's so many things that you start to paint a beautiful picture, but you have to do that. And then you
Yes.
track who is engaging, not how many. And so one comment from a VP at a target account is worth 500 likes from other marketers. And that's the way that you have to think about it. Now, to the second part of your question, like, when does passive engagement become a community? It's when people start talking to each other instead of you. So an audience is a hub and spoke. You post, they react, it ends.
Yes.
A community is when someone asks a question and 3 other members answer it before you get there. When members kind of meet up at a conference without you setting it up, when someone leaves your company but stays in the group. So for me, like the signal that I watch for is the first time a member recommends you to another member without being asked. And community can mean a lot of different things to people, but after you have a community, it starts working while you sleep. And that's like where you want to get to it. You can't force it, but you can set it up and like get your best readers in one place and give them a reason to talk to each other that isn't your product, and then get out of the way. And I promise you'll be in a better spot.
Wow, that's very beautifully put together, especially on the matrix part, because clearly we are so married. And I think it all started with YouTube, Instagram, and all of these platforms reporting these numbers, the dashboards, and it just likes, comments, and the whole visibility thing. So also another piece, I don't know, like correct me if I'm wrong there. For B2C, the top of the funnel matters a lot. I mean, like it's very different. The game is very different for lifestyle. Here, it's more ICP focused. It's like very precise and niche when it comes to B2B. So, anyways, the same matrix will not make sense. And there's these metrics were popularized by D2C. To be very honest, like how many likes are there, how many people saw it, because I just want the trailer to be viewed. So there's another question on Reddit, and the question is, what are your thoughts on shadow bans? How can
Mm.
new creators talk about their space when Reddit polices it so much?
Yeah, 100%. And before I answer that, so going back, exactly what you said. So that was the whole reason why I wrote my book. Like the book, like I came to it from like watching B2C and like seeing how influencer marketing and creators like worked over there. It doesn't work the same way in B2B, but so many
Yeah.
people think it does because they don't have any other education. And like that was the whole reason why I wrote the book, because like I thought the book isn't for the creators or the influencers. The book is for the brands that are trying to figure out
Yes.
how to leverage creators to drive pipeline and revenue for them. So 100% agree with you. On the Reddit piece, like, so it's interesting. Like Reddit isn't policing you, it's policing marketers. And
Hmm.
in my mind, it's right too. So like every subreddit has been burned by someone who showed up on day one with a link to their product. I'm sure you've seen that. Like, so the mods, the algorithm assume that that's you until you prove otherwise. So like my Reddit account has been active for I think about like 6 or 7 years. So like again, I've never dropped links. Like I've commented a lot, all of those things. So like my Reddit account is in good standing. Now, if you get shadow banned, it's almost always the same three mistakes: a brand new account,
Hmm.
posting links in your first few comments, or the same account showing up in 5 subreddits saying the same thing. So Reddit reads that as spam because it usually is. And I'm sure we've all seen it that are in Reddit. Now, here's how like I would approach it if it was me to not get shadow banned. Treat the first 90 days like you're not allowed to mention what you do. Pick
Hmm.
2 or 3 subreddits where your buyers actually hang out, and then just answer the questions. It's just like any Slack community. Real answers with detail, like the kind that you'd give to a friend. You build karma the slow way, so mods can see your history, and so can everyone else. Once you've been useful for a while, you earn the right to say, "I work on
Yes.
this. Here's what I've seen." Say it in the comment, not the post, and never drop the link unless someone asks for it. So, like, again, I tell people this all the time. Reddit is a place to learn how your buyers talk and to be useful. It's not a distribution channel. And I'd still put most of the time on LinkedIn, where your name, your face, their whole point. On Reddit, the fastest way to get banned is to act like you're on LinkedIn. And I think that's the whole reason. Like I see so many marketers
Yes.
treating Reddit like LinkedIn, which is absolutely the worst way to go about it.
Yeah. So, Nick, I had a sneaky little question here. So, imagine if as a brand, you have two accounts and you're like kind of like building karma, like you said, slow way. And one asks the question, the other answers with the link. Will that work?
I mean, maybe short term, yeah, I could see it working. But I think if you see the same
People
name
doing
commenting and posting, yeah, at some point someone's going to catch on for sure.
Okay. Yeah, but okay. So, like, guys, you can do that maybe once, but
Yeah,
not recommended to do it again and again. Maybe next time, pick up, like, ask your friends to kind of
yeah,
do that. I don't know. I'm just,
exactly.
just okay. There's another interesting question. Or you talked about creator marketing, and in fact, I also got onto LinkedIn because I was doing a story with Disney on creators, and we were doing this show on real creators, their lives, and there was this whole conversation around getting creators from YouTube, from
Mm,
Instagram, short form creators. And then somebody in the room got up and said, can't we talk to LinkedIn creators? And then another person asked, does LinkedIn even have creators? And this was in 2020, honestly, like exactly at the time when you started building your content. And
yep.
when I went there, that time it was just some students who'd like cleared some exams, HR recruiters. I mean, they had 100,000 followers. So one thing that we realized was like they're not really creators; they're basically recruiters who have a lot of followers because they're posting about jobs. So that
Yeah.
was the thing back then. And now it has really evolved into this space wherein the B2B community talks and feels safe. So there's a question on how can smaller B2B brands compete with established companies that already have strong content, creator relationships, community, and I'll add one more to it, budget. So how should you go about it? And how you mentioned that in your book, but how is B2B creator marketing different? And what should marketing heads or founders watch out for or do and approach this piece on LinkedIn?
Yeah. So first thing is don't compete on volume. You're gonna lose. They have a team of 10 and you have a founder and a laptop. Congratulations. You might as well just pack it up and head home for the day. You want to compete on specificity and speed. So like the big company posts safe content because legal reads every draft. Like, that's why I hated working for large companies. I would never work for large companies because there's too much political red tape and like you go through all these hoops just to be able to get something out there. Like you can say the thing that they can't. You can name the mistake everyone in your category makes. You can show actual numbers. You could take the position the incumbent is too big to take. Buyers remember the one person with a real opinion over the brand with a content calendar. That's one thing that you have to remember. Second thing is go narrower than they can afford to. So like the big company has to talk to everyone. Like you can pick one buyer, one problem, one industry, and be the only voice that matters there. So a community of 200 of the right people beats a community of 20,000 people who are mostly lurkers. And then the third thing I'd say is use your founder. So this goes back to talking about the founder and all of that. Like the established company CEO isn't posting. Like, maybe some of them, like I saw the new Apple CEO posted on X for the first time yesterday, and all he wrote was hello or something like that. But a majority of them aren't. Yours can. So a founder replying to comments and DMs within an hour is something a big brand can't copy, no matter what budget is there. And then the other thing is go where they aren't. So they're on the main stage at the big conference. What you should be doing is hosting the dinner for 12 people the night before. Same buyers, but 100% a better conversation and a tenth of a cost. So that's what I would say there. Now, the difference around like B2B and B2C kind of goes around this whole thing as well. Like you want to just become a trusted voice. Like you're just adding value. You're not trying to pitch anything. Just think you're talking to your founder friends or think you're talking to your other peers and colleagues and things like that. Like that's the only way that you have to think about this. You don't have to overcomplicate this too much to be successful.
That's a great answer because you've given them a framework. But does the marketing campaign work in a similar way? Because that's a conversation that I was having with someone, and it's like, do you rope in multiple influencers and creators like for a campaign? And there's a question around it as well, that how can companies build authentic influencers without making creator-led content feel like another marketing campaign? Because usually you see that with B2C, like there's a huge campaign, 15 influencers on Instagram, YouTube, talking about the same thing in their own styles, but just promoting, subtly integrating the brand. We see that happening on LinkedIn as well, wherein you want to do this, Clay is the way to kind of build your list. I've seen Clay do that. Salesforce also does a lot of this. What are your thoughts on this, Nick? I mean, how should you really approach this influencer marketing piece on LinkedIn?
So yeah, trust me, I've seen that so many times because again, people think that posting on LinkedIn is like the lightning strike that we all need. And like, yeah, maybe, a company getting 10 or 15 different creators. And I do a lot of brand partnerships for products that I use, but like I tell them all the time, like I'd prefer not to do just solely LinkedIn posts. Like I try to do like what's some long form content we can do. What are some like in-person events? What are some webinars, like videos, stuff like that? Because that'll be a lot better. And I think what you have to do to not like stop making it feel like a campaign is stop briefing creators like you brief an agency. Like the moment that you hand someone talking points and a launch date, you've made it an ad. The audience knows within 2 seconds. We're not stupid. Like we know what it is. Now, if it was me, like there's 3 things that I would do instead. First thing is give them the product, before you give them the money. Any company that I partner with, I will not do any partnership with them unless I use the product and find value in it. I've had so many, I mean, I could probably make a lot more money if I just took every dollar that a company threw at me that wanted another LinkedIn post. But I just, it's unethical for me. So let them use it for 30 days. If they don't like it, walk away. The best creator content I've seen came from people who had a real opinion, including the parts that they didn't love. And that's what makes it believable at the end of the day. Second thing I do is pay for the relationship, not the post. So 6 to 12 months, like you can't do these one-off things and hope for the best. Like the creator shows up in your community, it joins a customer call, comes to your event. By month 4, they're talking about you because they actually know you and not because there's a deliverable due. That's when you know you've kind of integrated someone into the team and it doesn't feel like a siloed part that you're just trying to check another box. Last thing that I would do, let go of the script. Like give them the problem you solve in the customers you helped. Don't give them a messaging document. If it sounds like your website, nobody's going to read it. If it sounds like them, their audience trusts it. So like the test is simple. Would the creator have posted this if you never paid them? If the answer is no, then it's a campaign. If the answer is yes, then you flipped it the other way.
That's an amazing way to look at it. But if I were to still draw a comparison, I would call it like a brand ambassador rather than a creator influencer kind of a thing, right? Because we do have brand ambassadors in B2C. We have like these faces that he like this sports star is the face of a particular brand or a particular like soft drink or whatever, like and similar way. So you basically get people to own your like product in this category and really stand by it. That's a very interesting way to look at it. So we're already on time, but one last question, because that one got slipped into my DM, because it's on should I look at LinkedIn to become a creator? I mean, and that's the question a lot of people ask. I mean, like, is LinkedIn a platform which, as a fractional, this particular person is a fractional. So as a fractional CMO, should you consider LinkedIn as a platform wherein you should target becoming a creator, and or should you focus on other platforms? That's number one. Second, your advice to founders, because we have a lot of startup founders who join in and they're shy, they're scared. Some of them are like not lazy, but some are just feel this thing with the camera. But does it make sense to make videos with Heijin? So that's like basically you give it all, and it's an AI generated video, but now people don't want to see that. So what are your thoughts on this whole AI generated content, video, and this thing for founders? And should fractionals become creators, or how should they approach it? Last question. I swear I just put together all the questions that people were asking, so that I mean you can answer all of them. I'm so sorry to do that.
I love that. I'll try to remember everything you said. I think I got it though. So should fractionals be there? I mean, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying like anyone can become a creator. I hit publish on a LinkedIn post, I'm a creator, but not every creator has influence. So I think you have to figure out, as a fractional, do you want to just be a creator and put out content that you enjoy and network with people? Or do you want to be a creator that has influence? Because the only way to get influence is to not say you have it yourself, but it's for others to say, hey, listen, I've been following your content for a while. You're someone that I trust in this area. You have a lot of influence. I would love to figure out what to work with you. So that's the first thing. And you should absolutely be posting, be commenting, be going and engaging with other people. It's something I did for a while. I've fallen off a little bit from engaging with other people's posts. I need to get back doing it, but I've become so busy that it's, thanks again, LinkedIn, but like, it just makes it where, sometimes I have to deprioritize, and I'll never deprioritize myself posting content, but it's just, I've deprioritized engaging with a lot of others that I wish I could get back to, and hopefully I will soon. But absolutely, it should be something that everyone is doing, not just creating your own content, but engaging with others and engaging with value as well. Don't just say like, I agree, or an emoji or something that seems like AI slop. Add value, whatever that means to you. Now, around the whole like video piece, that's like AI. So for those that follow, I don't know if anyone here follows like Ross Simmons. He's an amazing marketer, someone that I've known for years. We've done a lot of podcasts together. And so he's talked a lot about this subject. And so for me, like, yeah, it's becoming harder to distinguish what's AI as far as video goes and what's not. And things have gotten really, really good that
Yes.
like sometimes I can't even tell, even on like TikTok or Instagram. Like I have no clue if I'm watching someone real or someone that's made up sometimes. So the only thing I would say is you work really hard to build your reputation. If you leverage AI, whether it's for content, whether it's for commenting or whatever it is, just know that you can destroy your reputation in a matter of minutes by doing something that maybe you didn't think was wrong, but a lot of other people maybe are discouraged by it. So that's the only thing I would say about that. I don't use anything around that. I prefer the raw video. I'll take my phone and I'll basically just record myself. It's the easiest. No one can make it up. And again, I want to get back to putting more videos on LinkedIn. So hopefully this gives me the boost that I needed.
That is amazing. And I think that's a great takeaway that, I mean, you can use AI. Somebody had was talking about putting an agent for commenting. So
Yeah.
basically, put an agentic system because gave access. I mean, it's a web access from Claude, and then it's just opening LinkedIn and commenting on these profiles which have been uploaded. There's a whole system to this piece, and the gentleman was very proud of it. And I was just thinking about it, I mean, one wrong comment at on somebody that you genuinely want to talk to, connect with, and there it goes. And you said exactly the same thing. You put it beautifully that it is a matter of like seconds, like that one impression of you and that comment, and that person would remember, oh my god, that they put an AI agent to this. And I think sometimes you can't make out, but sometimes it's so on your face that it's like it just leaves you with a bad taste.
Yeah.
Why did you have to do that? I liked you. I liked your content. You should have done that, kind of a feeling. So
Exactly.
thank you so much, Nick, and thank you for staying for like beyond like the agreed upon time and like answering all of our questions. Oh, as a can you take one last one? As a platform, where do you
Yeah.
think yeah, so
Yeah.
interesting one. As
I
a
see it.
platform, where do you think LinkedIn is still lacking, and what are your pain points with it? I
the
love it.
the in, the inbox system, it is absolutely atrocious with how bad the messaging system is on LinkedIn. Like you would think that like they want to fix that because like the whole purpose of LinkedIn is to connect with other people and
Yes.
message other people, but like I don't know about you, but like I hate the messaging system on LinkedIn. Like it's just stuff goes. I lose stuff all the time because like I'm getting a
Yes.
decent amount of DMs every single day, and like there's sometimes where like I'll read it really quick, but then I can't mark it. Like I won't know if I like replied to it or not, and then I just forget about it, and then they message me again like a week or two later, and it was someone that I actually wanted to talk to, and I'm just like I tell people that message me on LinkedIn, like if it's someone that I have a decent relationship with, I just give them my cell phone number. I'm like, please text me. Like I will be way easier to reach on my cell phone than I will on LinkedIn. But that's my biggest issue is the messaging system, and hopefully like the whole AI slop piece, like hopefully they figure that out soon because the amount of AI written comments that I get on my stuff, and I know they've added a button, but all it really does is hide it from your timeline. Like I just hope that
Yeah.
they start to penalize more people for leveraging those types of tools in the future.
I completely agree. I mean, like actually not giving them reach. And even sometimes, you see content on your feed which just doesn't make sense. I mean, like, and a lot of times you feel, oh my God, this person posted this beautiful piece and it didn't even make it to my feed. I think
Yeah.
I would my answer to this question is what I see on my feed. I really feel they can up their game there. I do see a lot of ads happening, but I think even the content sometimes it doesn't make sense. I don't want to see that content. I mean, there's so many people that I'm connections with or friends with, but there's so many people I follow, like because they're not my first level connections, but I follow them for a reason, and I
Yeah.
don't see their content, and I want to see their content because I follow them. So that's I think they need to solve for the connection versus the follow piece maybe.
Yep.
Content that speaks to needs and challenges. Yes, Preston, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nick, for taking the time out today. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for joining in. I hope there were a lot of, for me, there were a lot of takeaways. I had work on LinkedIn a lot and so many amazing things. Definitely working a little bit more on X, Reddit. I think guys get. I mean, we even figured out a hack on Reddit. Get instead of one ID, build with two three IDs. Get your friends to post so that you can reply the link as a comment. I mean, so there you have it. So all right, and thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Thanks Nick.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.